There are so many interesting, horrifying, or downright weird things in this big world of ours.
Each week, we'll bring you a new true crime story that has little to no coverage in English.
Let us do the translations so you don't have to.
I'm Victoria.
I'm Laura.
And I'm Petra. And I will be the host of this episode. Today, we are going to Japan, more precisely to Osaka. Osaka is one of the major cities of Japan. It has roughly 3 million people living there. It's located in West Japan, and it's part of the so-called Keihanshin metropolitan area, which includes Osaka, Kyoto, and Kobe. I think it's a pretty famous city. And this specific event happens in Nishinari ward. Osaka, as it's a big city, it's divided in these wards, or ku in Japanese. So Nishinari-ku. They are pretty independent. They usually have a local government that governs the schools, the police, and that kind of public services. And there we are going to Airin district, also known as Kamagasaki. This is a district that is famous for its poverty. So there's lots of homelessness, lay laborers, day laborers. I don't know if that's a known concept in any of the countries you're familiar with, but basically people who take work like a new job every day and then they get paid in the end of the day. Sometimes it might be a longer period, but usually one day or a week, and it's very not very steady way. And half of the homeless people of Osaka basically live in this district, so it's really the town of the homeless. But nowadays there's also lots of cheap hostels and other lodging. So if you're a traveler in Osaka, you might end up staying in this area. It's near the Tsutenkaku Tower. For anyone who has visited Osaka, they probably know the nice view tower there. So, to the events. This is November 16th, 2009. It's in the middle of night, 1:20 a.m. There are two guys. One of them lives nearby and the other one is working nearby. I'm not sure, are they just leaving their workplace or what? But anyway, they are fishing at the river in the middle of night in this Senbonmatsu ferry port of the river Kizugawa that goes in the middle of the Nishinari ward. And they find a body, a female body, in a rigor mortis state. The body is soon identified as Sachiko Yajima. Doctor, 34 years old, woman, a female doctor, who's working in a nearby Kurokawa clinic, a small local internist clinic that provides basic internist doctor services and also rehabilitation treatment for addictions. If I understood correctly, it's especially for addiction rehabilitation. Sachiko lived in the area alone in her apartment, very near the clinic, and she would usually commute by bicycle. Apart from her work, she actively participated in volunteer work, helping homeless people in the Airin district of the Nishinari ward. Her volunteer work would include, for example, giving medicine for the homeless people, providing them with sleeping bags, and also just doing this kind of night rounds, that she would walk around the area and check that everyone's doing all right. Because nighttime is usually the time that homeless people are on the spot. And some sources say that she would use up to half of her income for like getting these, for example, sleeping bags and other stuff she would give to the homeless people. So she was really committed in her volunteer work. And the community, the homeless community, would call her Sachan Sensei, which is kind of a cute nickname, Dr. Sachan. Chang is this kind of ending that you put after names of children or cute things. So probably they had very, like, they liked her. Well, naturally, I would say. And she had been featured in the local television and got a nickname, the Mother Teresa of Nishinari, because of her volunteer work. So why was she now dead in a river on 16th of November? She was seen, surely, last on November 13th. So 3 days prior to her body being found, when she was talking to a patient in the clinic around 10 p.m. After that, she was the last person to stay in the clinic for some overwork. The keycard information shows that she left from the clinic for about 30 minutes and got back around 11 p.m. And around middle of the night, it seems that she was doing some back copies of the patient information on the clinic computer. So some kind of paperwork. Then at 4:15 a.m., she had turned the security system on and left the building. But only minutes after that, the alarm had gone off, which has led, of course, the security to arrive to the building, and they would arrive to the building at 4:50. So over, over 30 minutes after the alarm had gone off. But everything seemed ordinary, and there was no one seen in the building. So the security left. Around the same time, there was, from her tele information, you could confirm that she had sent a message from her phone to her male friend. Also, the neighbors testified that in the morning of November 14th, so after this, or after she had apparently left the clinic, sometime around the same morning, they had heard someone talking in her apartment, but they couldn't confirm who it was. This was apparently around 8:30, so very like normal morning time. But we could assume that it was her, so she would be still alive at that point. During that day, she also sent a postcard to her male friend. This could be confirmed from the postal stamp in the postcard. Because unlike in Finland, in Japan, the post actually is delivered daily. Then on the 14th of November, she does not come to work. Of course, her colleagues get worried. And the next morning, 15th of November, they decide to go to her apartment. Like, she didn't come to work for the whole day, so next day they go to her apartment, and they find that her door is open. In Japan, it's not auto lock like in Finland, but you have to actually lock the door when you leave. Otherwise, it's open by default. I think USA probably has lots of the same type of locks.
Like which type? The self-locking type?
The non-self-locking, like that you have to actually
I think that's
lock
the more
door.
common one.
That you have to lock it.
It's like they have the both, like we have the deadbolt that you have to put in. Otherwise, you can kind of, there's like a little, this kind of little switch or whatever, like this little kind of thing that you kind of twist 45 degrees or something, that it kind of locks, or a little push button that you can lock from the inside.
Mhm.
And then that locks the handle, right? So then you can't turn the handle, but then there's the deadbolt, which is the thing that you lock, which you obviously need to lock from the outside. So there's kind of like locking the handle or locking the actual deadbolt. So so there's
So basically, if you leave your house and don't lock it, it's open. At least this is like most of the apartment buildings in Japan. Anyway, they are worried that what's going on, so they open the door and they find that her keys are on the table, like the whole key, what is it called? Like where all your keys are in. Like
keyring,
keyring, like the key for home and work and all the lockers. But she's not there. So they get worried and they go to the Nishinari police station to fill in an application for police search of a missing person. However, the police declines this. I couldn't find like why they declined it. Maybe they were like, oh, she's an adult, whatever, who cares? Like, I guess that happens. But the clinic head is pretty worried, so they call to her family, who lives quite far away in Gunma Prefecture. That is around 400 kilometers from Osaka. So, and that this is where she's originally from Gunma. The clinic head calls her family, and the family fills the same application, but in the local city where they live in Gunma. So the police of Takahashi city. Apparently they do take it more seriously, but then again, what can they do? Anyway, it's too late. Her body is found in the river the next night. So, as if I understood correctly, no one really like started any search. I would assume it would probably been anyway too late, but so a body is found. So now the police starts a investigation. In the beginning, they keep all options open. Was it an accident, or was it something involving a crime? Police also goes to her home, and they confirm that indeed the door was open and the keys are found inside. Also, her post box is broken, but we can't confirm when this has happened. Laundry is in the laundry machine. Also, her bicycle is not parked near her home or near the workplace, so they don't find her bicycle at all. Usually she would take bicycle to work, and it was about 5 minutes ride from her home. And also, a weird thing was that they couldn't find any fingerprints in the home. It as if someone had wiped off, and there was no dust at all, so it seemed very wiped off. Then they look at the security cameras that were in any relevant places, and there was a convenience store kind of diagonally in front of the apartment building, which has 24-hour security camera, also filming outside of the convenience store. But from 14th November, it hadn't been recording. And police told that, okay, well, this was a mistake of the caretaker of the building where the convenience store was. But, well, anyway, kind of weird detail.
Yeah.
Also, they couldn't find her in any of the security cameras like that were found in her usual route to work, because you would assume that it was like a commercial area where the clinic was situated in this kind of arcade where there's like where the rain doesn't come in, but there's lots of little shops. But none of the security cameras would show her during the time. Then there was, of course, autopsy for the body. And in the autopsy, it was stated that the time of death was likely to be in between the morning and noon of 14th November. Which makes sense as she didn't come to the work on that day. And last voices from her home were heard around 8:30 on that morning. Also, she had a kind of bump in her head and some pressure marks on both sides of her neck, and some type of petechial
hemorrhaging, yes.
Like these small red spots. I think they come from
Yes.
like kind of blood vessels.
Yeah, it's the
breaking.
capillaries bursting, and it looks like pinpricks on the skin, or you can also get it in your eyes, and it shows that it was probably strangulation then. Yeah.
So that kind of were also on her face, and some abrasion, like the skin in several places, like head and right hand. But police stated that these were probably from the time when she was pulled out of the river.
The hemorrhaging was from when she was pulled out of the river, when she was in rigor mortis and there was no flowing blood, and no, that's impossible. I claim bullshit.
Going to the spoilers.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, this is already the part where you start to get kind of not comfortable with this initial police report. Then, the body, there's an older man in his 60s who contacts the police and introduces himself as a former romantic partner of the victim. Let's remember, the victim is 34, so this guy is in his 60s. And he shows the postcard that he has received from the victim on 14th. And it says, in Japanese, 出会えたことを心から感謝しています。カマのおっちゃんたちのために元気で長生きしてください。Which roughly translates, I'm grateful from my heart that we have met. Live long and healthy for the pops of Kama. Kama here means the Kamagasaki, which is the other name for the Airin district. So this guy is also kind of part of the community. Also, it seems that he's a receiver of the last message that Sachiko has sent from her mobile phone, but I couldn't find like mention about the content. It might be something that the police didn't want to reveal to the public. Then in December, so the following month, police finally finds the bicycle that was lost, and it's parked in a cycling park of a public housing complex that has no relation to Sachiko. It's locked, but there's no fingerprints in the bicycle either. So it's not near her home, nor near where the body was found, nor near the workplace. It's like 2.5 kilometers from there. From the place where the body was found. Yeah.
Are we supposed to like stop you for clarifications or questions or just points, or are you going to? How do you want to do it today? Because I
Well,
have
As
questions.
the questions are piling up.
I know. I have pages now of questions.
Well, I have one last thing. I will actually tell,
Mhm.
one thing, and then I have here my memo says conversation.
Okay, cool. I'll hold my horses then.
So eventually, after the autopsy and 7 months of investigation, so police does interview a lot of people regarding to this and does their investigation. I couldn't find that much detail about like what they actually did, but it was apparently the Osaka prefectural police, so not the ward police, but the more higher up police that takes this kind of murder. I don't know, it wasn't murder, but like death reason investigation at this point. So they closed the investigation after 7 months, around in summer 2010, and they informed the family that their daughter has committed suicide caused by excess work. I think like suicide, excess work as a reason for death is very common in Japan. I don't know if this also may be common nowadays in English, karoshi, like death from excess work.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of a stereotype of Japanese work culture, at
Yes,
least
that's you.
even compared to US work culture, which is also quite crazy. I think the US people think that like, oh, well, at least we don't have it as bad as Japan, but I don't know. I feel like both countries maybe have it bad, so compared to Finland at least.
Indeed. And like, I mean, it does indeed seem that she was doing long hours as a doctor and also the volunteer work. So, yeah, she was surely working a lot. But the main proof that police represented for their conclusion was the postcard that she had sent to the man calling himself a former romantic partner. Police interpreted that this is a suicide note. Like, I'm happy I met you, live long. Okay,
Okay.
here we
That
are. So this
shouldn't
was
be enough, but
what
okay.
happened, and the initial conclusion of the police. Now it's your
Should we
time
start
to.
with our theories maybe first, Victoria? Or how do you want to
I don't know. I
like
just have.
organize this? I have a grand theory if you want to
Yeah.
hear it, but yeah.
Well, okay, go ahead with your theory. I have like a lot of kind of disorganized like thoughts and additional questions and just like things that I noticed that sound weird. But if you have a
My theory is that because she did a lot of work with addiction, maybe there was someone who came into the clinic. And by the way, is this a solved case or unsolved case? Because I don't know if we're going to reach a conclusion, or are you wanting to tell us now?
Maybe I should. Yeah, it's unsolved.
Okay. Damn it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
there's lots more.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Okay, so my theory is that since she worked with addiction, etc., people knew her, whatever. Like there could have been someone who wanted to get a fix because usually with, at least in the States, like the methadone clinics, they have, drugs to wean people off of that in itself is, going to get you a fix. So I would say that someone possibly came in when she left for or maybe not left for the 30 minutes, but in that time could have easily come in or something. She did some paperwork, whatever, and then things got out of hand, or I don't know. And then I was thinking that the alarm setting off at 4 o'clock in the morning and it only going off a minute later, I felt like that was maybe a signal or something like that to have the cops come by alerting some authorities, possibly, like on purpose. Basically, that's my theory
So
with that.
by whom?
By her, so setting the alarm, but she kind of knew how to maybe make it go off is my thing, because if
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had to alert the authorities on the down low, I would probably try to use, I don't know, our alarm system. Yeah, I'm just setting the alarm. Okay,
Hmm.
yeah, see, it's set now. And
Then you
then,
open the door and one close it and
yeah,
open it again, and then the alarm
yeah,
goes
something like
off,
that,
type of,
basically.
or break something there, or probably she
Yes,
knows how it
something.
goes off. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes, yeah. So I think that was maybe a signal, and then why the cops didn't find anything was, yeah, of course, because she'd already been spirited away kind of by the person who was, taking her. That's why she didn't have the bike. That's why she didn't follow her regular home route, because someone was basically had kidnapped her from the clinic. And that's why also there's conversations and stuff at her home, like maybe trying to
Because
get
then they
either like
went to her
went
apartment.
went to her apartment, and then there was discussions, whatever, and then yeah, she died sometime after that, and then either to get away, the person had the bike, but then I'm just curious why the bike, if the bike key was on the key ring, could she have, I mean, the door was unlocked. It doesn't mean that someone could have just brought the keys back, but that's the part that I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
really
not actually
clear on.
100% sure if the bike key was also. I don't think it actually mentioned that the bike key
Ah,
was on the key
But do you
ring.
need
Yeah.
okay.
the key for the bike? You don't necessarily
Yes.
need it.
Yeah, not
So
all
that's what I
bikes
was
require
thinking.
key, yeah, to lock them.
Yeah, true. But I was just thinking, like, if it was locked at someone else's place, so maybe close by, I was just thinking, and then this guy, the note didn't sound very lover-esque to me. It was just kind of like, oh, it was so nice to meet you, and blah 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 blah. Like this guy had this kind of, like these delusions of his love, like the love that she had for this old
Mhm.
dude. Like, I don't know, kind of sounded a bit weird. And then definitely strangulation. Come on. Like with the hemorrhaging, that's something that's like clear sign. Like whenever anybody says like petechial hemorrhaging, you're like, yep, strangulation, Like it's like a
Also,
no-brainer
like
kind
Mhm.
of.
pressure marks on her neck.
On the Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And you're not going to you're unable to literally strangle yourself. Like if there's hand marks, you're not able to strangle yourself with your
Of
hand.
course
Like
not.
so
No.
I don't get that. Like so that's kind of my theory, is that she was abducted from the clinic, was brought to her place maybe for more goods or to talk, and then things got out of hand or whatever. And then she was killed, and then but how far away was the river to her apartment is the question.
I mean, I don't have the exact
Mm,
uh,
yeah, just
address of her
approximate.
home, but it's
Yeah.
by the area. I would say could be 1 kilometer or
Okay.
2 max.
Okay. Because I mean, technically, also the body could have even been carried on the bike. I'm just thinking if there's some ways to like, I don't know. I'm just thinking how to get the body if she was killed within the apartment, hence the cleanliness of the apartment. I mean, there's no blood
Mm.
splatter, there's no anything. She has her DNA obviously in her apartment because it's her apartment. But I'm just
Yeah.
thinking like how to get then the body to the river. I mean, there could have still been like some coercion to the river and then killed at the river. And then the body could have also washed a bit further away. Like if, for instance, maybe even the kill point was at the other apartment or something, and then body washed down or something. So yeah, those are just my ideas.
Why did they go back to her apartment?
I was just thinking that maybe she had some cash or something like that, like just other
Mm.
things in her place. Because I mean, a doctor, you automatically think that, I don't know how it is in Japan, but in the States, if you think like, oh, a doctor, they're well to do, they have things, they're well off. And or maybe they're, yeah, let's go back to my place because there might be stuff there, and then she could, knows her apartment better, maybe try to get away or
But was anything
use the.
taken from the apartment?
No,
Yeah, that's also a good question. Okay.
no.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking that there's this male friend.
Yeah.
He sounds a little bit suspicious too.
Yeah, and maybe the postcard was the hint that it was him. Were
Yeah,
you
and
thinking
he's
that?
also kind of inserting himself into the
Yes.
investigation, like coming up with that. Yeah, she just sent this postcard. Sounds like a kind of a way to make an alibi too.
Yes.
Maybe he forced her to write the postcard with
Mm.
that date, so that there's like maybe she was already dead by the time the postcard was posted, but it kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
shows that she
Yeah,
would
that's
still
true.
be alive.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I also agree that this guy sounds a bit odd. Like, I don't know, the language that she used was a bit definitely not lover-esque. I don't know how it is in Japan. I guess public displays of affection are maybe frowned upon, but still you're going to be a bit more in a letter or a postcard or something like, "Oh, with all of my love," or something like that equivalent.
But let's
So,
remember that he stated that he's a former romantic partner. So what kind of, like, if you want to say something to your ex, you maybe wouldn't use any
true.
lovey-lovey
But
language,
what
more
is
like
the
be
reason?
formal.
What is the reason
Yeah.
for her to send this postcard?
Yeah, random postcard, yeah. Like
Well, probably that's what the police thought, and they were like, yeah, must be suicide
Ah,
note.
okay, that's the suicide one. Yeah, okay, that was their explanation.
Yeah.
And she only sent like that. The suicide note that she writes is directed to her ex,
Yeah.
and she is not.
I mean,
Not
well, she
she's not
sent it
writing.
to his address.
But yeah, but like, why would you like announce to your ex that you're
Mm,
committing suicide? Unless it's of course has something to do with him. But
yeah.
But to my
I
understanding,
know it's
she
so.
didn't have any partner of the moment. So maybe this
Mhm.
is the closest thing to any,
Mhm.
I don't know, companion she
Mm.
has in this phase of her life,
Mhm.
even if
But
they
that's
are not
not
in romantic relationship anymore.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But where did this guy live? Did he live near where the bike was found? I mean, a 62-year-old guy stealing her bike and bringing it back to his place, that would be kind of stupid, but I
But
mean,
the
he sounds
bike
like he's
could be just a distraction, like taken to a different place.
yeah. But I'm just
Yeah.
thinking if, for instance, if there
Mhm.
was a chance that he brought it back, or I
At
don't
least
know.
I couldn't find any source that would state that he lived in that apartment complex. Somehow
Okay.
I would assume that they would have checked that out
I
because
mean, they thought
there was
I
already the
just don't
postcard and
trust
everything.
them.
Yeah.
They think that she died by suicide. So anything that the cops say, I will just say the direct opposite, or they didn't obviously investigate it properly. So yeah, at least yeah. But I'm definitely with Victoria. Like I think it was something to do with this guy, this ex-lover, or it's either an ex-lover or someone who needed some fix or some drugs or
Mhm.
something. But that's it. Yeah.
The other thing is the camera, that it was not recording exactly on that. Was it just that one day when it wasn't recording anything, the convenience store camera,
Apparently, yeah. Which
which
is
is
very
convenient?
convenient. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's why I kind of see it very hard to imagine that it was just a random junkie type of
Mm.
Yeah.
like.
I mean, it
Also,
could go all the way to the
yeah,
top. It could go all the way to the top.
True.
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like because the cops like also turning a blind eye, the camera not recording. I don't know. It seems a bit also wonky. Maybe she uncovered something that she shouldn't have, like with the cops and drugs and stuff, and then they decided to dispose of her or kill her. And that's another way to get someone. No one's gonna question a cop with a lady, right? Like it's not gonna
Mhm.
be and then easy with a car to get her to the river or something like that. Oh yeah, come with us. We have some questions, etc., etc. And then kill, dispose of body.
Mhm.
It was suicide.
Yeah,
Also, they didn't find any signs of her on the cameras on the street from the
yeah.
hospital to her home. So I don't know. Of course, she might have been in someone's trunk or something,
Yeah.
but could be that the person who took her knew where the cameras are and how to
Mm.
avoid them.
Yeah, and also wiping down fingerprints seems like I don't know how clean also is the apartment could also be an indicator. You know, if someone was really looking out for exactly what to clean and not just fingerprints, but I mean, some people just are stupid with cleaning fingerprints too. There's always something. Like
Mhm.
if you're not actually actively thinking about it, if you're not in the mind state of an actual criminal constantly or a fan of true crime, for instance, you're not going to be constantly aware of these things. So a first-time killer or an old guy who is doing a vengeance killing probably wouldn't be that careful off the top of my head, but I'm just spitballing here. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it goes all the way to the top. It goes all the way to the top. It's the cops.
Yeah. I just want to add one thing about the fix and stuff that I I read lots of academic papers that weren't directly related to the case, but about homeless people of Japan. I found that it's very different from many other countries. For example, only 1.5% of homeless people of Japan have a drug problem. So it's not a big thing amongst the homeless people. Like I think in USA, it's maybe a bigger phenomena. And only 15% have even an alcohol addiction. So actually, most of homeless people are not addicts, really. Rather like people who have just kind of dropped from the safety net of the society. Like it skyrocketed in the 90s after the so-called bubble era of the 80s ended and lots of people lost their job. And there was also this cultural thing of like the man who has to be the financial
Provider.
yeah, of the family. So most of homeless people in Japan are men. So they have just kind of, for some reason, failed in the work life, lost their jobs, lost their apartments. Just they usually don't have any connection with their family anymore and kind of live from day to day type of life. But of course, I assume that they still have lots of, for example, mental health issues. Maybe that's not the cause, but I would think that if you live in the streets, you get depressed, you get all kind of problems. Anyway, that I don't know how probable it would be that there would be just a kind of random drug addict attacking her.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
then again, also I would read about this like within homeless community there is this all type of poverty business and kind of business where you, because in the Japanese social welfare system, if you're on social welfare you get all your medicine for free, which makes sense. But Japan is not very digitalized society, so there has been this like healthcare scams where you go to just several clinics with to get the same prescription for the drugs, and then you can sell them in the streets. So not like illegal drugs per se, but probably people abusing
hmm
medicine. So that could be related somehow to drug trade rather than just someone wanting their own fix. Yeah, that's what I thought initially, at least.
I mean, also you could have cops tie into this too. Like you could have people reselling drugs and the cops know about this and they're kind of the pimps of the drug trade kind of thing going on, like this semi-legal but not legal. Like people are using drugs, they have a prescription, but they're kind of taking advantage or organizing the people in order to sell drugs. Just saying. It could also be something like that too. Cops.
Cops and drugs.
Caps.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
seen it in Finland
Yeah.
too.
Basically, in one way or another, it was the cops.
Yes, I'm fixated. I know you shouldn't become like, tunnel vision towards one suspect, but I think it has to do something with the cops because it just seems so
But they are just incompetent.
incompetent, but how can you be that incompetent? Like, you would have to have the medical examiner, you'd have to have the cops who are doing the investigation of 7 fucking months. Like, yeah, I know,
Yeah.
like maybe if there was DNA in that, but there probably wasn't. So then I could assume that, oh yeah, if there was DNA, it takes like months or whatever to get that back. No, no. What the fuck were they doing for 7 months?
I understood that they were actually interviewing people quite extensively, like around like everyone who knew her. And somewhere I read that they also used this like lie detector when interviewing. So I suppose they did have some initial suspects too, if they were. But I guess like everyone was just like, no, I didn't do anything. Why would I?
Mm,
I loved her.
yeah,
She's the best. I mean, everybody, of
yeah.
course, loved her.
Mhm.
She's the doctor of the area, the doctor of the people who everyone else has forgotten.
Now the question is, was it someone who didn't love her, like we think that everyone did, but there was someone who didn't? Or was it someone who kind of loved her too much or was like obsessed with her? Like
Mm.
this ex-lover grandpa.
Yeah. We don't know.
Kind of reminds me of the Don Juan of Kishu now. 28-year difference. Like, oh,
Yeah.
oh.
I was also, when I read this, like, again, young women, old guys.
So basically, we have a trend. Like, I do fire murders, and then Petra does lecherous old dudes. And then Victoria, well, she just does Hungary, but I mean, there are some things like, damn.
Well, yeah. I can. I mean, there's lots of different aspects still that we have to talk in the
Mhm.
next episode. But before that, I will tell one more thing that happens this year, which is in September, the family files a complaint and request for reinvestigation. Surprise, surprise, because they weren't very happy with the conclusion. They filed it for the Osaka Prefectural Public Safety Commission, which is basically like a board of 5 people under the governor of Osaka, and they are in charge of governing the law enforcement there in Osaka Prefecture. So, and the family, which is, by the way, a family of doctors, so they actually have their own hospital in Gumma. So that's why the family probably reads the autopsy and is like, what the fuck? Just
Yeah.
like Laura, they were able to spot that it's weird stuff. So they present 4 main reasons why they believe that there's foul play. One was, well, the state of the body when she was found does not suggest a death by drowning. For example, she had a bump in her head, and you don't get bump in your head after dying because it's about blood circulation.
Yeah, and she didn't have any water in her lungs, I would also maybe think. If they were saying drowning, there would be water in her lungs, which there probably wasn't.
Actually, I didn't find anything about that. Yeah, interesting. But anyway, the initial investigation had stated that the bump was from the time when she was pulled out of the river, but also what the guys who found her had told, that they didn't really use any chain or anything, like they just pulled her by hand. So there shouldn't be that much stuff where she would have bumped anyway. And well, yeah, the also the police admits that, oh yeah, that's true. Bumps don't. You don't get bumps after death. Good that you noticed.
Okay.
Well,
Wow.
and also they pointed out that she was in rigor mortis state, which should not happen if you drown. Instead, like if you drown, you should be kind of floating in the water. This is something I don't understand very well.
I think
Like,
from what I understand, I think she wouldn't have been in rigor mortis at this point, like, because it's a certain. Okay, it was November though.
yeah.
I'm just thinking, was it the state of the water that would have held off on the decomposition? And I always
They f-
forget what stages. Like, there's the
they
yeah.
found her pretty quickly, like 2 days after she
Not even
disappeared.
two. She died supposedly in the morning of 14th, and they find her in the middle of night of 15th. So it has been not even 24 hours yet. A bit more than 12 hours, roughly.
The internet says that rigor mortis starts 1 to 6 hours after death
Okay.
and disappears 12 to 36 hours after. I don't know. I guess it depends on the conditions
Yeah.
of the environment too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is something I didn't really like. I couldn't figure out, but apparently they were kind of not accepting that she would be in rigor mortis state if she had been indeed drowned in the river for over 12 hours. But I mean, they were doctors, but it's not like the parents are. What is the doctor that does the autopsy? Special autopsy doctor. Yes, they are not coroners. So
There's another name.
yeah,
A
like
medical examiner.
Pathologist? No, but that's not
oh
exactly.
yeah, but well, yeah. Anyway, something like that.
So I actually found on like encyclopedia.com that
Yeah.
so basically temperatures, like if it's colder temperatures, then it can be delayed, the rigor mortis.
Uh-huh.
So in
Yeah.
cases of drowning in cold water, rigor may not appear until the body has been removed from the water, even after several days of immersion. So that's why.
Mm-hmm.
So she
Yeah.
was already dead prior to going into the water, because then if she went immediately drowning, then she wouldn't have had rigor mortis. Yeah. So that's why.
Yeah. So that's probably like what they were trying to point out.
Yeah.
I would assume. And also, they say things like she was a good swimmer, but I don't think that really has anything to do with if you want to
if
die.
she's dead when she's in the water, then it doesn't
Yeah.
help anymore.
But maybe they try to also say that it's not an accident. Like if she had just dropped to the river, she would have been able to swim out or something.
Yeah.
Second thing that they were pointing out was that actually her mobile phone was found in her pocket. So she was fully clothed when she was found in the river, and in her pocket there was her mobile phone. However, when they had tried to call her, of course, when she went missing, they tried to call her several times between the time the search started on 14th November, when the colleagues, the clinic head called the family like, hey, we're not finding your daughter. They had called until the afternoon until the afternoon, and the mobile phone gave the ringback tone, suggesting that the mobile phone is working.
Yeah.
But if she had already been in the river from the morning of 14th November, how could the mobile phone give a ringback tone?
Yeah. When was the last time they called her?
It said afternoon.
So on the 14th.
On the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
So either the time of death is wrong and she actually went drowned later, or she was not in the river. Or actually, I'm not sure if that was the last time they called her or the last time the ring tone came back. Because I would think that they would have kept calling her, constantly, even in the evening. Well, then they pointed out also the fingerprints missing from her house and bicycle, which raises suspicions. And also, fourth point that they raised was that they don't think that she would ever commit suicide, like as her parents, and also she had a big brother. They were like, no, she wouldn't commit suicide. Additionally, she was a Christian, so in Japanese culture, it's not such a taboo to commit suicide, but Christianity kind of doesn't agree with suicide. So they said that in the context of her religious values, suicide is not a likely thing.
I mean, I
Okay,
would
well,
just go with
that's
scientific. I would go with just the scientific reasons, and that's it. Take out
yeah.
the
I think the
swimming,
first
take
three
out the
reasons. Yeah,
that's
Yeah, I
enough
also
for
thought that
me.
the fourth is like, come on, your family living 400 kilometers from your place. Why would they know what's going on in their daughter's head?
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I also didn't really take the fourth reason as important.
but the other three are just like super obvious somehow.
Yeah.
Like why? Like I don't know. Like nothing is kind of indicating that it would be suicide if you really think about it.
I thought about the mobile phone. That, like, okay, if she was dead, if she was murdered before being dumped into the river and the mobile phone keeps ringing. But I'm also thinking that maybe she just died a bit later than they thought. And maybe she didn't want to, like, if it indeed was a suicide, maybe you don't answer the phone when you are doing your last, judgment. Like, okay, am I going to jump or not? Oh, hi, mom. Just thinking about
Yeah.
things now. So that's, yeah, it kind of gives the controversy of the time of the death. But
maybe she was already
way.
dead. Her body just wasn't in the river yet.
Yeah, but
She
if it was a
was somewhere
suicide,
else.
yeah, then she
Well,
wouldn't
yeah.
get to the river on her own.
No, yeah. That's yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was suicide, obviously.
Yeah.
So is that it for today? Like, is that all
Yeah.
you're gonna give us, Petra?
Yes,
Hot
I
damn.
am. This is all. So we are left with the parents not happy with the initial investigation. Let's see what happens. Will we get more investigation? Will we learn more about the background going on here? Yes, we will learn more.
I feel like this is kind of a bit of a movie. Like I can see the movie playing in my mind as well. Like she has some seedy life that her parents don't know about, that no one else knows about, and I don't know. There's ways to turn this into like a quote unquote great movie or something, and I feel like there's something missing here, some link. But anyway, yeah.
Hopefully we'll find out more about that next week.
Yeah.
If anyone knows anything about her in the meanwhile, please feel free to contact us or the police of Osaka, maybe.
Maybe don't.
Or maybe don't. What will we do?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We can call Paul Holes. This would be a good case for Paul Holes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure. He wouldn't have to Google rigor mortis. When does it start?
Yeah. At least we got the petechial hemorrhaging down. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. But yes, okay. I guess I'll wrap us up today then. So thanks, Petra, for doing that and bringing this case to Victoria and I. And if you're listening to this and you've not turned off the the episode yet, you can follow us on Instagram at Translation Murder Podcast. And you can send us an email and give us some feedback, be it constructive only. No shitty feedback, please. No mean emails. You can send that to translationmurderpodcast@gmail.com. And there's something that you should never send us. And what is that, Petra?
Dick pics.
Yeah. So none of those. No dick pics. And what else? Yeah, you can also message us on Spotify too. Send a comment on how the episode went, and you can like it, rate it, press the subscribe button so you can kind of get the notifications of when we have a new episode every week. And yeah, that's kind of it. So thank you, Petra. See you guys. Hey, parola.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you next week.